You imagine yourself as Rose on the Titanic. Your hair is flowing in the wind and Jack is holding you, and you decide to play out this fantasy by taking a cruise. But what you forget is that the Titanic sank in real life, and Jack is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the most influential environmental activists of today. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I talk about sustainability here. If this is something that interests you, go ahead and click that subscribe button. At first glance, a cruise seems like the perfect vacation, but today we'll examine the impacts that it has through people's lives and the environment, and really get down to that huge question that I know is on your mind. Would Leo really want you to take that cruise? But first, as in any movie, we need to know who the actors are. Hi, I'm Carnival, the main baddie in the cruise industry, with 10 cruise lines and 44% of the market share. Now, an interesting note about the cruise industry and how I can get away with a little saucy behavior is my legal ambiguity. So my HQ is in Florida, but since I operate in international waters, I can choose to fly my flag in different countries, such as Panama and the Bahamas. It's kind of like I'm a dual citizen, but not because of the hashtag cross-cultural understanding, but because I want the tax-exempt status and the environmental regulations of my flag countries. And if that sounds sketch as heck, that's because it is. Hi, I'm CLIA, the Cruise Lines International Association, of which 95% of cruise companies are a member. I advocate for policies benefiting the cruise industry through my PAC, which lobbies in Congress for pro-cruise and pro-travel legislature. Oh, hi, I'm a hashtag cruiser, one of the 94% of millennials who say they're likely to take a cruise for their next vacation. I love the all-inclusive design, the ability to swaddle me in lack of choice, and of course, the parties. Hopefully, it should come at no shock to you that a floating city that with newer models can accommodate 4,000 people and is being built to the tune of $1 billion has a negative environmental impact. But how negative? First, most ships use diesel fuel, which is putting greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. And then there's the fact the 3,000 person cruise generates 210,000 gallons of sewage weekly. Along with the dredging of shorelines to create ports for these ships, and the sulfur content in the air of the air pollution on the ships, the environmental impacts go on and on and on. But not surprisingly, cruises are adamant in downplaying their environmental impact. According to CLIA, our friend from earlier, the industry is calling for 30% new ship emission reductions by 2025. New ships. Nothing about retrofitting all of their old fleets. Okay. And returning to Carnival Corp, our main baddie from earlier, I took a peek at their 160-page sustainability report, and first, who approved this font? And second, I guess more importantly, they, exact quote, claim to reduce the intensity of CO2 equivalent carbon dioxide emissions from our operations by 25% by 2020 relative to our 2005 baseline measured in grams of CO2 equivalent per ALBKM. What? You know when they just throw around all these fancy, qualifications, that there's something sketchy going on. So what does this mean? At the risk of oversimplifying, this measurement is basically a per passenger per kilometer measurement. So what does Carnival's 25% reduction in emissions actually mean? Well, their per passenger per kilometer emissions are decreasing. Their overall emissions per company has only decreased 1% in 2 years. Do you think that's enough in our climate crisis? Let me know your comments down below. And the Carnival drama saga continues when we look at their altercations with the US justice system. And I told you that she was a baddie. So basically what happened is they were fined $40 million for polluting the oceans and dumping things into it by a US Supreme Court judge in 2016. And as recently as a couple weeks ago, they were actually found violating their terms of probation. The judge is considering blocking them from US ports, and she'll make her decision in June of 2019, so keep your ear out for the end of this saga. Or I guess just next plot point. And while the environmental impacts of the cruise industry should have your shoulder, Leo, screaming right now, there's actually more problems with the industry. So when we look at environmental issues, they're often environmental justice issues or social justice issues combined. It's so important to analyze issues from differing perspectives and through different lenses. When a cruise company decides to dock in a new port, they actually end up a lot of times building and financing those ports, and this directly impacts the local economies and communities. Yeah, of course it impacts them positively. I mean, I bought this cutest bracelet from this little boy on the beach, and I'm just helping him realize his entrepreneurial dream and vote with my dollar to prop up his community. Well, it's actually more complicated than that. A natural experiment study done in Turkey, Honduras actually showed the impacts of a community before and after a new port was built. The researchers found that while people were getting off at these port destinations and going to local businesses, these businesses were often owned by high-power foreigners or high-power nationals that don't live in Trujillo. They concluded that local benefits fail to materialize when cruise tourism is undertaken without investment in and involvement of destination communities. Sadly, there are actually a lot more people who are impacted by cruise tourism, and I won't be able to get into this today, but these people include the workers and actually the tourists themselves who are in this legal limbo and where crimes often fail to get prosecuted, especially sexual assault. That's heavy. I'm sorry. So, do you really think that Leo would want you to go on this cruise? My answer for how to cruise sustainably is don't. And I know that's not really an answer and it has zero nuance to it, but I literally cannot think of a reason that you would actually want to go on a cruise because of all the negative impacts that it has. Make sure you take what you learned today and encourage others to hit snooze on the cruise as well. And for a more systems approach, make sure that you're following that court case in Florida, and I will leave a link down below for a script that you can use to call your representatives if you so wish. So have you ever been on a cruise? If so, leave your experience and your comments and thoughts down below. And also, if you want anything clarified, make sure to tell me. And while you're down there, go ahead and comment your main takeaway from this video. And one final ask from me is to click the poll in the link up above and tell me if you actually got something out of this video. And as always, thank you friends for watching, and I will see you in the next one. P.S. There's a whole socio-cultural critique that I really didn't get into today, so if you're interested in learning more about that, I left some resources in the description. And just so you know, I am not an expert in anything. I say this every time, but make sure that you're using my videos as a jumping off point or piquing your interest if you really want to learn more about these issues. I'm one person with biases and trying to gather all these facts and figures, but sometimes I may get it wrong. And if you find that I got it wrong, I will Venmo you money. Like, please, like, fact check me and do your own research, be curious, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.